see if we are live. There we go. Why is it taking so long today? Good afternoon and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. With light of the information that's coming out today that Kyogo wanted away. Yes. Why is it taking so long today? Yeah, Kyogo asked Brendan Rodgers a few months ago to be sold. That explains why he's been the way he is. People saying that he didn't like Brendan Rodgers' style. People saying that it was Brendan Rodgers' fault. Well, Kyogo asked to leave. Kaiser did say also, and Lanky, you did say that he wanted to leave. Yep. I think it's came down to the Kids for Garden deal. The tripod's all squint. Oh, fuck, I'll sort it later. I think it will come down to the fact that the Kids for Garden deal didn't happen in the summer. And when you look at that, it's maybe had a lot to do with it. I'll just check the audio on this. A little bit. There we go. So yeah, I was kind of shocked with that information. It'll be interesting to see the interview with Brendan Rodgers when that comes out in the next hour or so. Celtic haven't obviously put the interview out as yet, but the media who were at the press conference have released obviously information. Brendan Rodgers has confirmed that Kyogo Furiashi is set to join Rennes after asking to leave Celtic, and the deal to sign Jota is near completion. Kyogo flew to France following the win over Young Boys that secured the Champions League progress, and Rodgers said he will finalise his move to the League One club in the next 24 hours. At his regular Friday press conference, the Celtic boss explained that the Japanese striker and his representatives, we said that in the live earlier, as soon as he changed to the same agent as Ange Postecoglou, that was it, the writing was on the wall. The striker's Japanese representatives told club that he wanted to seek a new challenge months ago. So was that in the summer window? Kyogo had expressed interest to leave a number of months back, said Rodgers. Obviously then, the expression becomes stronger. And it gets to the stage where he clearly wants to leave. Hence the reason that he didn't celebrate goals in Ross County. So, it's nothing to do with Brendan Rodgers. Kyogo spat the dummy out. It's nothing to do with Brendan Rodgers at all. I mean, if a player... Brendan Rodgers gave us a little insight into it when he said a few weeks back. He said, look, if a player doesn't want to stay here, we'll get rid of him. Obviously, the expression becomes stronger. So Kyogo's obviously been saying to him, look, I'm sick of this league. It's pish. Let's face facts. That's about the way that the conversation would have went. When you look at it, I mean, if he's wanted away, fair play to him. I mean, he almost scored a hat-trick for us in the Champions League. That's it. He's gone. He's now in the same bracket for me as the grumpy Greek. You know, as soon as you want away from Celtic, that's it. Is that information coming out? Mostly in it. Baz, the Villa game is Scotland versus English. Never not British. Never knew I said that today on this video. That it was British. And I never said, it's not a Scotland-England game. But anyway, the club knew for so long, they had plenty of time to line up replacements. Yeah, but it's all about getting the player that you want, ultimately. If you want Kids for Garden, you have to wait till the timing's right. And that's what Celtic have done. And fair play to Brendan Rodgers and the board for biding their time and getting the player. They obviously wanted Kids for Garden in the summer. And they obviously wanted Matthias in the summer. And Matthias wasn't able to leave Brøndby then. Tierney back, Jota back, Matthias in the door. Could be some end to the season trips. And at least I would rather, and so would Brendan, you want players that want to be at the club. But now the question will be asked, and eager-eyed people will be jumping onto transfer market to see if Kyogo Furiashi now has the same agent And well, if Dyson Maeda has the same agent and Rio Hatate, I think we all know that Rio Hatate is away in the summer. Sorry, the wee man. I think sorry, Baz, the wee man could not get used to Rodgers' style of play for him. I don't think it's been that. He wanted a new challenge. He's done everything in Scotland. See, when you're a foreign player, right, at a foreign club, when you've won a treble, there's not a lot more you can do in the domestic game. Players want to go and try something new. Saying, Ernest, we're not even talking about the Villa game. Get a break, man. It's Scotland club versus an England one, not British. I've never said that, and if I have, to get over it. We're talking about the transfers. We're not even talking about the Villa game. The Villa game's taking back burner now. We've got a game tomorrow, for goodness sake. Villa game's next week. Get with the show. Ange once says, don't get too attached to your favourites. Yes, Ange said that on the steps of Hampden when he himself was getting ready to leave. So the low block pissed Kyogo off. Yeah, you've got to say it. It's the time. It's the style of football in Scotland. If I was a professional player, you would get fucking fed up here. Do you know what I mean? It's unbelievable football, and it's not the prettiest to watch. Do you know, it's rough and tumble stuff, and you see some of the players, and we're going to go down a rabbit hole here. We're not going down that rabbit hole. Anyway, when you look at the players that are now going to be questioned, it is going to be questioned whether the fact that Rio Hatate wants to stay at the club. I think there's many people that will pay for the taxi to take Rio Hatate to the airport as it stands just now. And then when it comes to one man that cannot leave us, is Dyson Maeda. I mean, I think it's a different kettle of fish. I think Dyson's more a settled family man, and I can't see Dyson want to jump ship too much. I can't see that at all. I hope not. Matthias has been lined up for 18 months, says Lanky. Yeah, we know that. I mean, they've been chasing him for a long time, and he gets mentioned every time. And the fact is that if Peter Lawwell had allowed us to spend another 400 grand or something, we could have had them in well before now, but we didn't. So anyway, Brian Hart says at this rate, Postecoglou would be not a chance. I wouldn't take Ange back. I wouldn't take Ange back. His style of football for the Euro would regress, and if you take, I'm not going down that road. I'm not going down that road at all. I don't think it's the league, it's the football or the lack of football passing side to side. We put any striker off a team like that. How is Kyogo meant to get space in a back five? Do you know, if you look at the side to side passing, it's generally weird. Fucking Jesus, some folk are never happy, are they? I will carry Rio and Taylor with my broken back to the airport, and I live in Wales. Champions League knockout, yes, let's get back to being positive. I'm positive about the future. People can moan about side-to-side passing football. If we're playing side-to-side passing football, it's in the opponent's half. We're not doing it in our half. We're not doing it in front of our box. Do you know, we're doing it in the opponent's half. What are you meant to do when there's 10, 11 men behind, right on the front of the 18-yard box? There's nowhere for you to move. Jesus. Honestly, losing Maeda would be heartbreaking compared to losing Kyogo. Yes, it would. We cannot lose Dyson Maeda. He is. I said a couple of weeks ago that Dyson Maeda was more important to Celtic than Kyogo Furuhashi. I did say that, and I still think that Dyson Maeda is way more important to Celtic than Kyogo Furuhashi. Any striker worth his salt, with Nico Kuhn and with Dyson Maeda, the balls that they put into any striker worth his salt is going to bang them away. Listen, Kyogo's wanted away since the summer, so big deal, get over it, he's gone. Definitely have Ange back. Spurs have an injury record. Are you having Shay, do you want to then progress? we had a poll this morning, mate, asking would we have achieved in the Champions League this year what we have with Ange Postecoglou's style of play? And it was a resounding not a fucking chance. Not a chance. We would never have done what we've done in the Champions League this year with Ange Postecoglou in charge. Never. We would have got fucking beaten about 6-0 in Atalanta, for starters. We would have got our totties in Atalanta. Ange Postecoglou cannot play a defensive style. So people saying bring back Ange, fucking get a grip. Get a grip, man. We're all entitled to our comments, but I just think that would be going backwards. That would regress the team. Managers come and go, players come and go, some players come back, as we see. But the style of football has always been fast-paced attacking football. But you've got to be able to defend that. And Ange's inability to defend has shown him up in Scotland, in the Champions League. It's shown him up in England, domestically. And then they get a little bit of respite, I believe, last night in the Europa. Anyway, Brendan's doing a good job and going nowhere. We're guilty of trying to walk the ball into the net. Let's see some shots from distance. And I think that's the way to look at this, and it'll be interesting to see when Brendan Rodgers' interview does come out. It'll be interesting to see if anyone asks him about the style of play. Will Kyogo leaving and new players coming in, will it change the formation? Now, Brendan Rodgers has said himself that he's not adverse to changing the formations at Celtic. You know, it'll always be fast attacking football, but it may not be 4-3-3. So maybe we're looking at the position now at Celtic that we're going to get away from the 4-3-3. With Ange, it would have been 1-1 against Bratislava. You're pretty much right there. Brendan's far better fit for us. Yes, he knows the club. And he knows it's okay coming in and slapping the badge and waving to the fans and fucking having some good team football. But at the back of your mind, Ange knew for day dot, and we've got family in Australia that have followed Ange's career, and they said he was never staying at Celtic. And I tell you one thing, I see the stats from YouTube, and I can show you the stats from the year that Ange was here, right? There was a big viewership from Australia. The year that Ange has not been here, the viewership from Australia has went away down. So went away down. And that was only because people followed Celtic because they followed Ange and they followed what he's done. And I still say that Ange always knew that Celtic were a stepping stone. Celtic were always a stepping stone to him. He wanted to get there to try himself out in the top league. And fair play, he did it. And then hence the reason that he said, look, don't get too attached. He knew Kyogo and that was going to want away. He knew. But it is what it is. I think that the big question is we need to keep Dyson Maeda at all costs. At all costs. If he has to get a new contract that puts him on 45 grand a week, so be it. That's how important Dyson Maeda is to the way that Brendan Rodgers and Celtic ultimately play. I think after the window closes, we need to try and get Rodgers on a new deal with only a year and a half left. I think I'm not worried too much worried about that because Brendan Rodgers will sit down and it's going to be an easy conversation. I think that conversation already took place when Brendan Rodgers and the management went over to Dublin, remember, in December to meet our biggest shareholder. I think that conversation's already took place. And I think there'll be an agreement in place with Brendan, and I think, does Brendan even have an agent? He'll do it himself, won't he? He'll just get on the phone to Dermot, and Dermot will say, right, Brendan, I want you here for another 3 years. Here's the deal. Do you want it? Brendan will go, yep, let's do something. You've got to remember back to when Brendan signed. The conversation that he would have had with, let's go over the timeline for when Brendan signed, remember. He had the phone call for Dermot. That's not going to be a 5-minute phone call. He then knows that Callum McGregor just happens to be on holiday in Mallorca, at the same time. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. He then has a 3-hour lunch with Callum McGregor privately in a hotel, in a private room in a hotel, where they talk about what's needed at Celtic. Brendan Rodgers confirmed that when he came. And that shows you that Brendan Rodgers, for one, was staying for the full 3 years. And it also tells me that Brendan wanted reassurances from Dermot that he was going to be in charge, because he knew that there was upstairs influence that overruled him with transfer decisions his first time here. And I think Brendan Rodgers wanted those reassurances from Dermot Desmond to make sure that he had full control over the football and transfer department. Hence the reason that we got rid of Mark Lawwell and his sidekick. That come from Brendan Rodgers. That didn't come from upstairs, because Peter Lawwell's still sitting up the back. He's sitting up the back row fucking milking it. That didn't come from him. He's not going to sack his own son. Brendan Rodgers was the instigator for getting rid of Mark Lawwell and his sidekick. He knew that the people that they were bringing to Celtic were not good enough quality. And we needed to change things. The fact that Brendan Rodgers then had the current incumbent of the transfer department, Paul Tisdale, sitting during the summer with Brendan, having talked, before he's employed by Celtic, remember, talking through transfer, and he was getting paid for it. He's not going to do it for nothing. But remember, he was part of all the conversations that happened with every player that came into Celtic this summer and all the players that left. He's now in the position where he's the direct contact, if you like, between Brendan and the board, and backs Brendan up, and he can talk to the boardroom, let them understand, and as well as Brendan, the football decisions for bringing in a player. But he also stands the business sense of it, and the business sense is making, look, if we spend 10 million on this player, yeah, we might get 30 million for him. Let's get Jota back. We sold him for 25. If we get him playing good again in the Champions League, who's to say we can't turn Jota around again for another 20 million? It's possible. Possibly. Anyway, Brendan Rodgers is going nowhere. There's nobody in England that's interested in him. Remember, Desmond called him and he jumped at the opportunity. Jim McClarty, he didn't jump at the opportunity. He was on a year's sabbatical. I think it would have took a lot of. I don't think that he jumped. To say that he jumped at the opportunity, it would have been, when you listen to what Brendan says at the time. You know, he had a long conversation before he accepted. A long conversation with Callum McGregor. He's had long conversations with Dermot Desmond. He knew that the fans weren't happy with the way that he left. I don't think that he jumped at the chance and went, yeah, I'm coming back. I don't think that was the way that happened at all. I think he thought about it through a lot, and he thought about the permutations of things that he was going to anticipate would happen when he came back, obviously, with some fans not wanting. Hence the conversation that he had. Brendan Rodgers knew exactly what he was walking into, and he knew the performance that would come from fans, and he knew the way that the storyline would go. So he stood on the front doorsteps of Celtic Park and he says, to those who do not think I should be here, come back here at the end of May. That's it. Brendan Rodgers has said himself, he doesn't need to hold back. You know, he's a better manager, I think he is now. And but anyway, he's got a big, massive decision to make when it comes to Rio Hatate, because I think Rio Hatate is definitely one at the door. And when the summer comes, I just pray to God that nobody comes in for Dyson Maeda, because Dyson, one player that we cannot lose. Anyway, let's see if Celtic have updated anything. It's unusual for the printed press to put out so much information from the Celtic press conference, because usually Celtic like to put out the press conference first. Piss off. So yeah, they haven't put in and out. But anyway, Brendan Rodgers went on to says he's been an incredible player for the club in the 3.5 years he's been here. Like I said, he's not someone we wanted to lose. But we have to accept, said Brendan Rodgers, where he's at after the work he's done to give Celtic and his age and where he's at. We have to accept that. Celtic will look to bring in a replacement before the end of the January window, but Rodgers admitting losing a key player just after reaching the Champions League playoffs was not the best scenario. Hence the reason he knows exactly how we were all feeling the day after. There's obviously an issue around timing. Exactly. But we have been aware, so it's not something that has just sprung on us. So they've been aware that Kyogo wanted to move in this window. And let's face it, we needed to keep a hold of him to make sure that we got to the Champions League playoffs. So fair play to try and keep him as long. I just wish we had kept him another week, but it is what it is. We understand, says Brendan Rodgers, we understand that we are going to lose him and that we have to replace him with quality and keep the team moving forward. This is something that we've been doing for a little while, and hopefully we come out of the window a stronger squad. Rodgers spoke about former winger Jota, who's poised to make a return to the Scottish Championship in a separate deal. Jota was sold to Saudi club only for a record fee only 18 months ago, and had an unhappy time in the Middle East and France. He's not part of Jorge's plans in France, but it's not finalised yet. But a player who certainly would be an incredible addition to our squad, Brendan Rodgers said. So the deal is not finalised yet, but he's a player that would be an incredible addition to the squad, given what he's done here before and his qualities. And that was what Brendan Rodgers said. And we'll get it from the horse's mouth, as they say, in about an hour, I would have thought, the next half an hour. Once Celtic decide to get everything out. I mean, even Sky's not really put anything out, have they? Sky usually give you a snippet of what Brendan Rodgers has said. And so that means that they had the print guys were in first for the media conference, because it's usually the TV guys and then the paper guys. So they've obviously got the print guys in first, because they'd be wanting to ask 101 questions. And that takes it for there. So the update so far is that Jota will make his way to Scotland after I've seen some of the wins of some of the devastation in Ireland. If you are affected by the wind today, it was not too smelly. So the players that are going to come in this window there's still question marks over the Kieran Tierney. It's looking like Kieran Tierney won't be here to the summer on the free, but you never know, that might change. But as long as we get Kids for Garden in, Lewis Palmer, the situation with that is still fluid. So we might need another winger. We may still, well, not really, because if Jota's coming in, he can double up, can't he? Anyway, good luck, Kyogo. That's football. Players come and go. Maybe even come back again. No chance. Not a 30-year-old Lorna. He's 30 now. Willie says that Mateus looks a good player. Yep, Galway's bad with the wind. Yeah, it's quite... Messi and Ronaldo are arriving after the breeze. If only, yeah. Baked Beans says, we will be paying his wages for Jota. We will pay his big wages for Jota and KT. Hopefully signs of things to come. It's the only way to progress in Europe. Baked Beans, you're right. And I said this morning's live, that when you look at it, Brendan Rodgers put players on lengthy contracts and big wages to keep them at Celtic for the nine in a row run. Is Brendan now putting things in place for the next run to 9 in a row? Because I think 3 9 in a rows is completely achievable with Celtic. It's too early to talk about it, but we're a couple of seasons away from getting carried away. Kids for Mateus is definitely needed. That's one thing. Get Mateus in the door, get Jota in the door, and then I'm looking at the video going around with Kyogo on it, and it's devastating to think that he wanted away. I mean, but he's won everything that he can. So fair play to him. But getting to Do you know what I don't understand? The fact that he's said a few months back. So he said obviously back in the summer. He said back in the summer that he's wanted away. But what's the weather like with me? It's 19 degrees and clear blue skies. Sorry to say. It was 25 degrees yesterday. But we've had some freezing cold weather the week before. I woke up and had fucking ice on the car. Anyway, Lorna Gallagher says, I didn't mean Kyogo come back. I was talking about Jota and KT. All right. Yeah. Let him go, Baz. Yeah, let him go. It's time to just take the pictures down of Kyogo. He's done. He's wanted away. And for me, that explains I'm not celebrating goals because he's like, it's fucking too easy. That's too easy. I want a bit. He's maybe thought that the Scottish game was getting too easy for him. Everyone's saying it's Brendan Rodgers' fault. Spending good money is a good thing. We need to bring in someone in. My neighbour's fence is away. It's away with the trampoline. Well, at least your neighbour's not away with you. Let him go, wanting away, no one bigger than the club. Yes, exactly, Dave Morton. As soon as it came out today that Brendan Rodgers turned around and said, look, he's wanted away. That's him for me. That's it. No trees down, Baz. No, no trees down here. We haven't even got any wind. It's just a normal day here. Normal day. Anyway, let's see some more Celtic headlines. Jota and Kyogo. Jota in, Kyogo out. The Rennes latest. We all know about that one. Kyogo asked. And that's still... I hope Rio Tati's asked. I hope Rio Tati's asked for a transfer. Although the passing that Rio does sometimes. Rafe Rovers tickets are on sale. Celtic have just announced. So get your tickets for the next round of the Scottish Cup. Season ticket for the tickets for the Scottish Cup 5th round tie against Rafe Rovers are now on sale to season ticket holders. The match will take place at Celtic Park on Saturday the 8th of February. Kick off at 5:30. Come on, A 5:30 kick-off for a Saturday. Again. Jesus. Half of Kirkcaldy will be steaming by then. half of Kirkcaldy will be steaming. Trying to get into Celtic Park. Oh my days. Could you imagine 3,000 pissed fifers running about outside Celtic Park at 5 o'clock at night trying to get into Celtic Park? Oh man, Jesus. Anyway, the prices are £25 a ticket, $17 for a concession, and for under 13s it's £12. Under 13s is £12. The Home Ticket Cup scheme, they'll have their ticket seat renewed automatically following a successful payment. The payment date for the game is the 31st of January. Celtic like getting their money out quick, don't they? That's one thing I don't miss. You used to go to your bank on certain days, man. You're like, Jesus, fuck Celtic. It's just been robbed. God. Mrs. doesn't even fucking do me for that much. Anyway, there'll be accessibility seating for the game. The general sale, remaining tickets will be on general sale at 4 p.m. Thursday, January the 30th. So yeah, next week, the remaining tickets for that game, the Scottish Cup game against Rafe Rovers. And it's another must-win game. It is another must-win game. See how easy the French relegation battle is? Yeah, exactly. He wants to go to a better league. He's in a relegation. It would be absolutely... He's only at the door 5 minutes, but it'd be fucking hilarious if he gets relegated for Rennes, wouldn't it? It would be absolutely... It would be... You'd be like that. Aye, going to a better league, Kyogo. You're playing in League 2 in France. Who's in League 2? Is there any possibility? Let's see if there's any possibility of Rennes actually getting relegated. Now it's an 18-team league. There's no chance of them getting relegated. They're on 17 points, Rennes, currently, sitting in 14th. There's two other teams sitting on 17 points, and then you go down to Le Havre, who are sitting 17th position on 13 points. So I don't know how the relegation works, if it's just one up and one down. I don't know if there's a playoff in French football. I have no idea. I'm not interested in French football, to be honest. But he is in a relegation kind of battle. Rennes have scored goals against. They've only scored 24 goals this season. They've had 24 goals against. Hence the reason that they're wanting a striker. When you look at the top of the league, Marseille, PSG, Marseille 40 goals, and PSG have got 48 goals for. It's the goals against. They should have got a defender in. There's 27 goals against. It's not a striker that they need, it's a defender by the looks of it. The Rennes have lost 4 out of their last 5 games. Jesus. Oh, God, you're Kyogo. What's his agent? How's his agent sold this deal to Kyogo? I want to know how he sold this deal. It's fucking France, mate. It's pure dead brilliant. They fucking eat baguettes and everything. The food's fucking amazing. The cakes all day long. Fucking what? Would you? They like sushi. There's not a sushi bar in Rennes. Could you just imagine it? It's unbelievable. How did they sell it to him? So Kyogo goes. So where are they in the league? 4th. What the fuck? What did you say? 4th or 14th? It's like fucking. Just tell me, are they 4th or 14th? They're 14th, mate. So how's their last 5 games went? Oh, yeah, fuck. They've only won 1 game in the last 5. Fucking get me on that private plane. Come on, let's do this. Jesus, come on, Kyogo. What were you thinking? The agent told him there was a red weather warning on Friday and thought, fuck this, I'm off. It must have been something like that. It had to be something, because the Kyogo's went, fucking Jesus. That's what I'm talking about, bro. Yeah, again, yes. Mateus is in the doors. He's not in the doors yet. Wee Kyogo gets smashed to the ground, won't play again. Especially with the big French. I mean, the French boys are big. Like. But he couldn't have joined the 100 club. Aye, I know. Jota must have stood in shite with the moves he's had. He stood in shit and come up smelling of roses. He's back at Celtic, where a lot of people say that he belongs. Anyway, more Celtic news. Brendan Rodgers addresses the striker's plans this month. Come on, Celtic, just get the video out. Get the video out and get it uploaded. What's taking you so long? Jesus, surely they didn't need to edit it that much. You just record it and stick it up. Anyway, Celtic headlines. Brendan Rodgers breaks Kyogo transfer silence and reveals the Jota signing timeline. Jota back at Celtic behind the scenes, and the master plan, as Brendan Rodgers insists, I still want another striker. So even with Kids for Garden coming in, or I wonder if it's because Jota's coming in and he said I still want another striker. Interesting. Irish Independent goes with the headline, 1 in, 1 out as Jota and Kyogo Furuyasu set to move in the opposite direction. That was at 2 o'clock. We haven't even had Chris Boyd even on saying anything. Sky's been a bit slow today. Nope. I mean, usually when all Sky have put up is a picture of Kyogo and Jota. Brendan Rodgers confirms the deals involving Kyogo, Furuyasu and Jota to be completed in the next 24 hours. Usually Sky do a little bit of a snippet of the media.
Really actually enjoyed the game. It's I thought first half we were excellent. You know, we were so creative in the game, and our penetration was so good, and we were unfortunate we weren't at least a couple in front. So So pleased with that. Pleased with the reaction. We obviously, when we lost the when we didn't score the penalty.
I tell you one thing, Brendan Rodgers will make some poker player. For this being a manager that knew before the game, he would have known before the game that there was going to be a deal tomorrow, the next day, to take Kyogo away. He's at that press conference and he's not letting a thing go, is he?
That it can rock you, but it never did. The players just got the composure again, got playing. Second half, you always expect it's the highest level of European football.
In fact, let's get this on the screen. Let's get this on the screen so we can analyse. We can analyse Brendan Rodgers' demeanour, knowing what we do now, and it's not going to do it, is it? Just 2 seconds. Get this in there, and then we'll make it a little bit bigger. There, down to there, into there. There we go. He does that, and then we need some volume, don't we? We get Brendan Rodgers to play it again.
Really, actually enjoyed the game. It's I thought first half we were excellent. You know, we were so creative in the game, and our penetration was so good, and we were unfortunate. It's going to.
Let's do this again for the start, Brendan.
And then you got to keep persevering. And I thought that the players aren't that. And actually, the winning goal to show that level of composure in the 85th minute of the game, to build the game from the keeper right the way through the team out onto the side of the pitch, and then an absolutely incredible pass by Rio, and then we get that little bit of luck for the winning goal that we never had in the first half. So I've been involved in many of the games here where you end up drawing that game and it's a bit flat at the end, and even worse, lose a game when you shouldn't have. But for us to win it, I think it shows the maturity and it shows the development of this squad. So so pleased for everyone.
So pleased for everyone. It's a man, now that you look at him, you can look at him there and you can see in his eyes that he knows. He knows that Kyogo is on his way at the door tomorrow. And fair play to him, having that knowledge and that pressure of thinking, you want to say, like, we could have been, he says we could have been a couple of goals up in the first half, but inside he knows that's Kyogo's last game for Celtic, and that must have been playing on his mind. That must have been playing on his mind during the game. It had to be. It must have been playing on his mind during the game that, I wish Kyogo had scored the 3 goals. He would have walked out the door with his head held high, with a smile on his face, but he didn't. Wouldn't have minded this wheeling and dealing this summer, but we have just qualified for group time, first time in 12 years. What is strengthening, losing Maida, and now losing Maida. We're not losing Dyson Maida. Not losing Dyson Maida. And Kyogo. Rodgers quite never fancied Kyogo, says Mo. I don't think that. I don't think that. You're not a mind reader, Baz. I mean, you've got to look into it. You've got to look into it. Do you know what I mean? And it's like he knew that Kyogo was away the next day. We all know this now. He knew. So he's sitting at that press conference knowing that Kyogo is flying out. That's not just arranged in the morning. You didn't get a private jet. You didn't phone up and say, "Can I get a private jet today for Glasgow?" Maybe you can. Don't know. But anyway, it is all interesting. Let's see if Sky have put anything else up yet. Football. Kyogo will be missed. That's a new article. 24th. Kyogo Furuhashi transfer. Will Celtic miss the Japan international forward, and could Jota replace him? Celtic striker Kyogo Furuhashi is set to know this. The Japan international keen to move to one of Europe's top 5 leagues. The 30-year-old has been a key player for the Hoops since arriving in 2021 under Ange Postecoglou. When Kyogo Furuhashi joined Celtic in 2021, few would have recognised his name. At the time, the manager, Ange Postecoglou, said the Japan international would add something special to his squad. He wasn't wrong. Just under 4 years later, Kyogo departs as a fan favourite. He is the top scorer in the Scottish Premiership since moving to the league. Plus, he won 8 major honours over 3.5 seasons at Celtic. The 30-year-old signed a new 4-year contract at the club in 2023, with Brendan Rodgers describing him as an exciting and outstanding important player. The new deal was signed the day after Jota left for Saudi Arabia. He could be returning from Rennes to fill the void that Kyogo leaves. The simple answer is yes. Can Jota fill that void? He scores goals, he stretches defence, he creates room for teammates, and he's tidy on the ball. And it goes team goals. Percentage of team goals scored since 2021-2022. 63 goals have been scored by Kyogo Furuhashi since 2021. Matt O'Reilly scored 25 goals. Dyson Maeda, playing as a winger, has scored 25 goals. Jota scored 21 goals. Lila Bada, 21. Rio Hatate, 19. The Big Grumpy Greek, 19. David Turnbull, 17. Callum McGregor, 14, and Adam Ida, the man you all want to hate at the moment, is next up on 13 goals for Celtic. Just behind Callum McGregor since 2021. That's an interesting stats because Turnbull is no longer at Celtic. The Grumpy Greek, no longer at Celtic. Lila Bada, no longer at Celtic. Kyogo Furuhashi, no longer at Celtic. Matt O'Reilly, no longer at Celtic. Jota coming in. Interesting. He's topped the league charts for shots on target and fast breaks too, with more than 17% of Celtic's goals since the summer of 2021. Interesting article. Now the Jota. Big chances created by Jota. 30. He comes up first for chances created. Through balls completed, 9. Take-ons completed. There's an interesting one. Take-ons completed. Passing players with the ball, 96. He's third in that. He scored 15 goals and provided 12 assists during his last season at Celtic when they won the domestic treble. He loves the club and the fans love him. Well, he might not be a direct replacement for Kyogo. Rodgers is not short of options in the central area. With Adam Ida, Dyson Maeda to fit that role, there is little doubt that people would love to see Jota on the park again. It's interesting that they still go on about Jota with Dyson Maeda playing through the middle. And let's hear what Chris Boyd had to say about it. Right, wait 2 seconds. Can I get the friggin' adverts on?
Jota on his way back to Celtic. Has that ruined your night already?
No, it's definitely not. It's definitely not. I mean, listen, he was a fantastic player. There's no doubt about that. To get the move that he got for the money that Celtic got, and then being able to bring him back for, next to, well, I'm saying 8 million, but for what they sold him for, there's a huge gap in there. I'm sure he'll want to come back and prove a point. But the one for me, and I think it would worry the Celtic fans, would be Kyogo leaving. He has been the difference in a lot of games this season. He scores big goals. I get the fact that he's probably getting to the stage of his career where he wants to have that one, his last big move, maybe earn, top dollar. But and Celtic, their model, they're not going to break that for anyone. So for them to get 10 million is good business. But goal scorers are hard to come by, and Kyogo definitely falls into that category. So, I'd imagine Celtic will be looking to do some more business other than just Jota.
Just wait. Just wait. Just wait till Mateus walks through the door. Just wait till Mateus walks through the door at Celtic Park. I think he'll be a little bit upset. Anyway, that's me done and dusted. I've been on for 45 minutes. I was only going to be on for half an hour. Once Celtic have put out their press conference video, we'll have a look at that. Oh, it's done. You want to listen to it? Do you want to listen to it live? Let's listen to the Brendan Rodgers press conference live.
Using the right weight mat.
There we go, Brendan Rodgers.
Brendan, firstly, can we get an update on the Kyogo situation? How close is he to moving to France?
Yeah, well, he's obviously travelled for a medical and whatnot, so that'll probably be confirmed, I would say, in the next 24 hours.
How did that deal come about, Brendan? Was it a case of the player wanted to go, or does Celtic see this as the right time in terms of value and his age?
Yeah, no. Listen, it's nothing to do with the club. Naturally, as the manager, and I wouldn't want to sell at this point one of our top players and someone who fits perfectly into how we play and how we want. But no, Kyogo has expressed an interest to leave a number of months back, and obviously then that expression becomes stronger, and then obviously it gets to this stage where he clearly very wants to leave, and then sadly we have to then do a deal and look to finalise that for him. So he's been an incredible player for the club for the 3.5 years he's been here, and like I said, he's not someone that we wanted to lose, but we have to accept where he's at, and after the work that he's done to.
I wonder what is going on with the Celtic press conference today, because it's been done remotely. The press conference has been done remote. I'm just wondering why that is.
To give to Celtic, at his age and where he's at, then we have to respect that.
How awkward timing is it, Brendan, in terms of this window? And I know there's obviously talk of a replacement, but is it awkward given Celtic are through in the Champions League now, and you would have had your plans for this season?
Yeah, listen, there's obviously can be issues around the timing, but we have been aware, so it's not something that's just been sprung on us. We understand that we were going to lose him, and we understand that we have to replace that quality to keep the team moving forward. So that's something that has been ongoing for a little while, and hopefully we can by the end of the window we come out of the window with a stronger squad.
Just finally from me, where are you on the Jota situation in terms of bringing him back to Celtic?
Well, again, likewise, it's not finalised yet, but a player that clearly would be an absolutely incredible addition to our squad, given what he's done here before and his qualities. But hopefully we can again confirm that in the next 24 hours.
In terms of Jota arriving back and Kyogo leaving, if the figures quoted are correct in terms of outlay and intake, does that further highlight the business model that Celtic has, and that's why it's so successful?
No, I have to say that this was nothing
to do with
driven
finances
by the club in terms of having
Kyogo
to sell or any pressure on me to want to sell because of Kyogo's age. It was nothing to do with that at all. I think that that only comes into it once the player wants to leave, and then clearly then at that point, once we can't convince him to stay, then clearly the club has to drive the best deal that possibly can. So yeah, what the figures are that are quoted, but what I know is that the club will to get the best deals that they possibly can.
How confident are you you'll get someone in quick enough in terms of a new recruit in that position for Kyogo's?
Yeah, but well, that's as I said, it's been in the making for a while. So that's something that could come up. So there's been a lot of work going on behind the scenes, and hopefully we can get someone to just add that strength to our squad.
Just in terms of the result and the win and the qualification the other night, Brendan, I'm sure when you came back, you said, listen, one of my aims and the reasons why you have come back is to kind of see progress in Europe. Now that you've achieved that by going through to the playoffs, does it kind of reaffirm your decision to come back?
Yeah, no, I think that I mentioned that was one of the objectives that I wanted to achieve when I came. Been such a long period of time, over a decade or so that the club had been involved in the knockout stages of the Champions League. So yeah, no, the dust has settled. We can look back on a fantastic campaign over the 7 games. I think if I look at some of the football that we've played over that period and the highest level of games is what was really exciting, and but also I think the passion and commitment that you need, especially when you haven't got the ball, playing in some of these top teams, the players have showed that. So at this stage, they have 3 wins, and 3 draws and 1 loss, which we learned from. And
I don't know where Brendan is. I mean, you'll see this when you go and watch it yourself. He must be in a bunker somewhere. Seriously, he must be in a bunker somewhere, because the internet. I mean, surely he's not doing it off his mobile phone or something. You would have this hardwired through a laptop. I have no idea where he's doing this interview from. Hopefully, he's asked the question about Mateus.
Then of course it put us at a really good place. So yeah, really pleased for the players, firstly, with all the work and showing that composure and maturity that you need at this level. So that has been evident as we've grown over the last 18 months. And then obviously for the supporters, because they've given us so much support. And over the last decade or so, there's probably moments where it has been a challenge for them and tough for them. But I thought even the other night in the game, they showed great patience with the team. And then when we really needed them, they've given us that great push and support. And that really helped us get over the line. So yeah, so it's been a really, really good campaign in that aspect. And I'm not in the changing room. You would need to ask the players. Listen.
Have the boys in the changing room taken the news of Kyogo's exit? Did it come as a shock to them, or you said it's been almost in the works for a while that the player had been wanting to leave? Is it something they expected? How did they react?
I'm not in the changing room. You would need to ask the players. Listen, football is football. This football club has seen many, many, many talented footballers arrive here and leave, and it's a part of the great success of this club that we teach the players, we develop them. They then have the choice to stay or move on. When they move on, then it provides the opening and opportunity for another player. So that has been the culture here at Celtic. And like we say, Kyogo has been an absolutely brilliant player for this club. 3.5 years from the minute he walked in, provides then the opportunity for the next player. So if he does end up moving on, he's been absolutely brilliant for the club and created so many wonderful memories here.
Was there a reason, Brendan? You said that he expressed he wanted to leave a while ago. Was there a specific reason, just a new challenge, or what did Kyogo say to you or to the club?
A place to be, but their careers are short. He gets to he's 30 years of age now, and they want these new challenges. He's achieved so much here at Celtic, but that opportunity at this time in his career to go into what would be one of the top 5 leagues was something that just was maybe too good for him to turn down. But I think it was more just the something new for him, a new challenge, and he's obviously loved the club. He's loved everything about being here, but
he wanted away for the past few months. I'm still taken aback by the way that Kyogo wanted away so much.
Players' careers are short, and
Yeah, you understand that.
as much as we want to convince them to stay here and be here, the minute they want to move and the representatives say they're going to move, then we have to do the best for the club then.
Brendan, is it just one of those things? I mean, I think Kyogo was really disappointed to miss out on the kind of international squads at times, and I think that was one of the things mentioned from the Japan camp, that the Scottish League maybe wasn't challenging him enough. Is that just one of the things that's out of control of Celtic, maybe other clubs in Scotland as well?
Listen, you can achieve many things here at Celtic. Okay, the league might not be one of the top 5 leagues in the world, but this is a league where you can really develop and show your talent at the very highest level. So, when I arrived here, Kyogo hadn't scored a goal in the Champions League.
Yep.
And if he leaves, he's then shown that he can play at that level. So, but when he first came in, he was adapting to the game and done exceptionally well for Ange, and then sort of continued with that work, and now leaves as a player that has shown he can play at the very highest level. Now, the Japanese squad, there's obviously many really good players in there. So, but I think that you can show that by being here and winning and playing the type of football that we play and playing at the highest level, that you can still achieve everything that you would like to. But obviously, naturally, there's a feeling that when you've been somewhere, then they may want to move on. It might be in the weather. Maybe the weather just wasn't quite what he wanted. But
you can see that Brendan Rodgers is he is devastated by losing Kyogo, and I think he said it is all about timing. And I think he would have loved Kyogo to stay till next week and play that game in the Champions League because of how important it is.
But either way, he's been a brilliant servant for you.
And obviously, we saw Adam how lifted he was by his role on the goal the other night as well. Do you think maybe having this extra responsibility for the next few while will kind of bring him on as well and help him? Adam, he does.
I think with Adam, like it is with every other player, we have to offer them the time, the patience, the support, and we know the talent's there. He's already shown that in his time here. But you get through a little run of games, you don't quite score. But I thought his impact the other night come on. That's why we have quality strikers and more than one quality striker here. You need to be able to change up the game. The modern game now, isn't it, about the starting 11 and then playing the whole 90 minutes. Especially with the number of games that we play. I thought first half the other night we were very, very good in the game. And we probably tired a little bit in the second half, naturally, with so many games that we're playing, plus the likes of young boys who have 3-4 weeks off. So they come into it a little bit in the second half. But that possibility to change the squad and have quality players on the side, to bring them in, and that gave us the opportunity to get that winning goal. So strikers will always want to score goals. But for me, it's always about the collective, and we obviously, if Kyogo ends up finishing his deal, we'll have to look to bring in another quality player in that position.
If Kyogo obviously does leave and Jota comes in, is it in your mind perhaps to maybe play Dyson through the middle? It's obviously a role that he knows very well from the national team.
He can do that, Graham, but I would still want to bring in another striker. I think he can play there. If you look at Dyson's numbers, I'm not sure exactly what they are, but
so there's one thing: Jota isn't a replacement for Kyogo, so that's one thing that's clear, that Jota is not the replacement for Kyogo.
Certainly, when he arrived in here, he came in here with something like 23 goals in 30 odd games. So he's a different profile of striker, but the 2 games I've played him in as a striker, he scored 5 goals. As a striker, and Yokohama scored a hat trick, and earlier in the season against Hibs when Kyogo didn't play and I put him in, he scored 2 and he was a threat. So he will get goals. What's been really nice is to see the numbers that he's able to get off the side. But I still think that we would need another striker in. But position if we need a certain characteristic. And so, but yeah, definitely we would want to bring in someone else.
Can I also just ask you about your captain the other night, Brendan? Callum, I don't know if you'd be aware of this, but there was one or two kind of murmurings that perhaps he'd come off the boil a little bit of late. I mean, what did you make of his performance the other night? And did that show that absolutely is not the case?
No, I thought he was absolutely brilliant in the game. He's an outstanding player. He's been here for such a long time.
Murmurings, and you've got to remember that Brendan Rodgers doesn't jump into the comment section on YouTube and see everybody slating Callum McGregor.
How he leads this team with his commitment and his example is absolutely second to none. I've managed him in so many games over my both spells, and it's what the consistency and the level that he produces is absolutely incredible. Now, from time to time, yeah, he might not be 9 out of 10. He'll maybe only be 7 sometimes, but that's just the level that he's set. His how he drives this team. I've said before the game, he's the real heartbeat of this team, and the level of his game that he's shown, like the other night, like against Red Bull, like away in Atalanta, he's still a player for the very, very highest level. So, listen, you'll always have your critics. Manager, player, doesn't matter. It'll come to you, whether it's deserved or not. But what I know is that the example
Brendan, you should try and do YouTube.
he sets both on and off the pitch here is I'm very, very lucky to have him as my captain.
I was just going to say, there's obviously disappointment amongst the Celtic supporters with Kyogo going, given the impact he had. From your point of view, how important is it to come out of the window stronger? If you think you want to bring another striker, Jota could be returning, obviously Kieran Tierney as well. You're in a good position to end the window in a stronger position, surely.
Yeah, absolutely. We're in a fantastic position. It's just the nature of the life here. Players do really well. They will move on, and I think the sad thing always is for supporters is if they feel that certain connection to an individual, and obviously with Kyogo and his time here, his connection with the supporters and our young supporters, that was there for all to see, and you can see his happiness at being here. But players will move on, and people will move on, and we just have to thank him, if the deal goes through, for everything that he's done here for Celtic and his time, the contribution that he's made. So yeah, but we can, like I said, there's still a while to go in the window. You can see things will happen in this last week or so, and that's always the aim. Always the aim. But we certainly didn't plan to sell Kyogo and then be any weaker. Our idea is to be stronger coming out of January.
Brendan, could I just ask quickly on Jota, should the deal go through? I mean, he's been a hero at Celtic before. How confident are you that he can have the same impact?
Yeah, I'm very confident. I think that whenever there's a possibility of him maybe being able to come in, he was one player that when I was coming back the first time, that was really, really looking forward to work with. I'd seen him play for Celtic, of course, and seen the impact that he made in terms of creating goals, scoring goals, and like I say, that connection with the supporters. So I was really, really looking forward to him, working with him. And then when I virtually before I'd arrived, it was really agreed that he was going. So that was that was disappointing. So to have this opportunity now, and obviously I'd spoken to him at length about. Because the challenge always is, and I know through first-hand experience, is that when you've created a legacy, lots of people will tell you to come back and maybe for that to be dented in any way. But my feeling to him and advice to him was come back and grow that legacy to be even greater.
Yes, come on, Brendan.
And if you're not happy in your work where you are or how it's gone for you, You know that this is a place where you will improve, you will develop, and he's at a different moment in his life
Yes.
now as well. Even though he's been only a few years, so I think that he'll come back with a real motivation.
No, I can't get the
He's
table
got undoubted quality. Still got things he can prove to develop. He's still young, and comes through. Then I'll be really excited to work with him.
Hey everybody, it's Tony Robbins. Listen, I'm on my way to the studio, and the sun is setting on an opportunity.
What the fuck is going on? Oh, Jesus. Never thought that through well at all, did I? Let me get this. No. Where is it? Where is it? There. There we go. Get the camera back. There. That worked. That was a nightmare. Let's skip that bit.
Congratulations again on making a bit of history in midweek. It's quite a general question, really. I just wondered where Celtic are on the journey you hope to take them on when you came back here. You know, what do you think's developed in your time, and where are the next steps? I know you're not someone that likes to sit still, so where do you want to go from here?
Yeah. But when I'd spoken to them, it was based around well, how can we improve?
How
as
can
a
we
club?
improve?
So domestically, the club have had great success over a period of time, and the one glaring thing that from my first time here was to do better in Europe. But for that, you need to have a level of player and a quality that allows you to be competitive at that level. So that was something we spoke about, and that's something that we've do over the period I've been here. It's not just about getting in players that you can sell on and make money for, but players that can improve you for now as well. And then that journey started then last season with the team. I thought we had some really good performances. Didn't quite get the results and the points to show for that, but we started to play with an authority and a maturity even last season. And then it was a bit rolling into this season. So, and I've seen all of that. You know, we improved the squad. Players have become better naturally, and are developing. So that put us into then the Champions League season. We've got added to the squad, and then we've seen that level. But what was also important then for this group was how they recovered from a setback, because
the Dortmund game.
Dortmund was a challenging night for us, but you see that from that moment we've only conceded 3 goals.
Yeah,
and that's been away to even a club like Atalanta, who was so good going forward. And so in that period from then until now, showed that response. It's been very, very pleasing. So where do we want to go from here? Well, our next game, we want to go, okay, we'll have players missing at Aston Villa, but we want to go and finish off this group stage in the best possible way we can. And then for our future, it's just to keep growing it and sustain it at this level. It's about growing and developing, and that is then about improving players that you have, and then bringing in a higher quality of player.
Yep.
And I just wanted to ask a wee one about yourself, Brendan. I know it's your birthday on Sunday, isn't it? And maturity's been a kind of theme of the week. You know, the team maturing, the crowd maturing, and all that sort of stuff. Just wonder what the kind of aging process, what experience changes as a manager in terms of how you work, maybe your enjoyment of work, how it adds to the qualities you already had.
Yeah, it's interesting. Actually, I had a couple of good friends up from Chelsea here that I worked with 20 odd years ago. They were up for a few days, and they were asking similar sort of questions, you know, from when it was then, coaching with them at Chelsea to virtually 20 years on. What does it look like? And I think experience clearly helps massively in terms of dealing with problems. I think when I was a young coach and I'm trying to create this philosophy and this model for myself, because I wasn't a big player. I didn't have that sort of protection behind me as such that people understood what I was, and so I was new to it all and had to earn my respect as such over that period. But I think then once you have that sort of greater longevity and you experience more, you you just understand it more, and you understand about yourself more, and you regulate
Yeah,
the
he is,
pressure
Jim.
more. I think that's the big thing. You know, I was 39, for example, when I went into Liverpool. Of first team managerial experience, but I had many coaching years. And I look now, I'm 52 on Sunday, and I still feel I'm, young as a manager, despite starting early. But still always have that curiosity to want to learn. But I feel now that I really understand what is really, really important in terms of the game. And back then, 20 years ago, I was maybe the idealist and the purity of football. But you understand and you grow with that and understand really takes to develop winning teams and winning mentality and a winning culture. And the journey has been amazing.
Lastly, for me, you just look like you're enjoying it more than ever. Enjoyed that moment where Casper made the save in the final minute.
He's gone nowhere.
Your picture just smiling to yourself on the touchline. Would it be fair to say, that's the case as well? Your appreciation, enjoyment increases as well.
The joy, to be in management, you need to have a real commitment and a real passion for the job, but for that you have to enjoy it. And I'm been very, very lucky in my life to work with brilliant players, but more importantly, brilliant people. And I'm here at a club that's really authentic, people that work hard to give you absolutely everything. The player,
he loves it. He's going nowhere.
I had to come back. I had a point to prove, and I had to shake off some things that for some people will never be able to shake off. But for me, the most important thing for me was Celtic and giving them the best that I possibly could, and I absolutely love it.
Yes, come on, Brendan. What a manager! What a manager! That is Brendan Rodgers. Get it up there. Right, that's me done and dusted. I've been on well over an hour, and I'm going to go out and grab some lunch. There will be off later. We will do a video later on. I'm not exactly sure where it is, but Brendan Rodgers is here to stay. Brendan Rodgers told Jota, you've went away. You're nervous about coming back. Come back and make that legacy even better. He wants to make Celtic great again. It does Jota. It's going to be absolute party time. Absolute party time when Jota comes back. Brendan Rodgers wants to improve him as a player. He knows it's a place that he can improve his game. And Jota is nervous about coming back. That's what the information that we've got. Absolutely brilliant. I shall catch you later on this evening. What a buzz. What a buzz. Go and listen to the Celtic manager talking on that interview. I am buzzing now. Absolutely buzzing. The pain of Kyogo leaving has gone. The pain of Kyogo leaving has left the building. Jota's on his way back. Jota's nervous. Jota's nervous to come back because he doesn't want to ruin his legacy. We are all Jota. Come on. Brilliant.
Lit. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the lit. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the lit. Roll up to the party.